Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Committee on Public Finance. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourselves for the record?
I am HP Lalit Kumara, Chief Financial Officer, Urban Development and Housing Ministry.
රංජිත් ආරියරත්න ලේකම් නාගරික සංවර්ධන නිවාස ආයතනයේ මධ්‍යස්ථ.
Naimudin, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, Construction and Housing.
Chandana Bandara, Chairman, National Water Supply and Drainage Board.
Renuka Veerakon, Director General Acting of the BOI.
You are now Director General, no longer acting.
Acting, I am acting.
Priyanka Samarivira, Executive Director, Investment Promotion and Research, BOI.
Sam Tilani Silva, Deputy Legal Advisor from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
I'm Dilani Veerakon, Director General, Middle East Division, Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Herat, Director, National Budget Department.
Sudarshana De Silva, Director, National Budget Department.
Shanika Amarudasa, CFO, Women and Child Affairs Ministry.
Ishara Madarasinghe, State Counsel, Attorney General's Department.
I'm Sakuntala Rajamantri, Legal Officer from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Tivanka Varyaperama, Deputy Director to the National Secretariat for Early Childhood Development.
I'm Shriyani Munasinghe, Acting Project Director, Candy North Water Supply Project.
Thank you. It's rare that we have people from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs at this committee. So shall we first take up the resolution on the agreement between Sri Lanka and UAE on the promotion and reciprocal protection of investments? Who will present the relevant information to us? Is this under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or? Then who from? Yes.
Yes. Sir, yes, it's under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because the focal point for negotiation of bilateral investment agreements, it's the Foreign Ministry. We negotiate it with the BOI, the Attorney General's Department, and the ERD. And this agreement was negotiated for a few years, and then we signed it finally on 12th February 2025. In order to ratify this agreement, it is necessary that we approve it under Article 157 of the Constitution with 2/3 majority. So that is why this process, we have come here for this process. Thank you, sir.
Anything else to add? I mean, what is in here? Why is it coming to the Committee on Public Finance? How is it relevant to public finance? That is what we are interested in. What is included in this?
So this covers generally the aspects of investor-host country relationship, such as the grant of fair and equitable treatment to investors, the grant of national and most favored nation treatment, compensation for loss, including in the event of expropriation or nationalization, and it also includes provision for dispute settlement. If the parties are unable to settle disputes, it will go for arbitration. That is, so for arbitration, there will be a cost.
So, please. Yeah. So what's happening to them? Is that why we are rushing this through?
I didn't hear. What did he say?
No, the honourable member's question was, is the United Arab Emirates planning on any major investments in Sri Lanka in the near future?
Sir, actually, we have, BOI will be able to explain better. We have some investments of UAE investments in Sri Lanka.
What are they?
We have about 51 companies that have contracted with the BOI from UAE, and an investment of around 820 million that has come in, 804 million. 804 million that has come in up to now. Currently, we are not negotiating on anything, a big project as was mentioned by the member, but we want to engage more closely with them once the BIT is also ratified, because then that would give them the comfort of knowing that they have a BIT to support them as well.
I was reading in the papers a couple of days ago that some government-to-government contract on purchasing of fuel with UAE. Was it UAE? Can somebody look that up?
So that would be G2G, so if at all, it's nothing. It will not come, it won't come.
Yeah,
to
no,
us.
that's because there has been some UAE participation, particularly like the Honorable Member said in Trinco, isn't it?
Yes, that's a G2G agreement, discussion, understanding with the government of India, Sri Lanka and a Middle Eastern country. I can't remember whether it's UAE or not.
Yeah, the issue really is when you say government to government, these countries don't have really government agencies. They are private companies that represent government. So if you are giving most favored nation and protection from expropriation, etc., then it has to be at a, even though we call it G2G.
Yeah, it has to be G2G because anyway, previously also there was a discussion about Adani whether it's G2G. It was not G2G.
It was not G2G. That's what I'm saying. So
I
you
think
can.
this does not. I mean that discussion. I don't think the BOI will have understanding about it. But just one question on this: when was the last time we entered into such bilateral investment promotion agreements with other countries? Like when was the last?
It's quite regular.
Last bilateral investment treaty last was somewhere in 2014. The last one was with Qatar. But in addition to that, now we have negotiated free trade agreements, and we have signed 2 free trade agreements with Singapore and Thailand. And in those agreements, we have investment chapters.
Okay. So these basically get covered in the FTA itself.
That's right.
I don't think you are correct on that, because I recall when I was a Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, we passed a whole bunch of these things after the budget. The reason is you need 2/3 majority in Parliament for these things to be implemented. Is that correct?
That's right.
You need 2/3.
Yes.
So therefore, once we got 2/3 for the budget, we had a special session after the approval of the budget, and we passed a whole bunch of those things. And I was not in government in 2014.
For a long time, UAE complained, particularly after Etisalat pulled out. You see, because they faced a lot of threats, including racist threats after the Easter Sunday attacks. So that they have been really worried about the situation.
That's absolutely true. Because if you recall, it became a huge controversy because we had not approved it in Parliament and had not got the 2/3 to ratify. Let me ask you this: how many more agreements have been signed yet to be ratified?
Total, we have signed 28, and we have ratified all 28. I remember, sir, what you are saying. When you were our deputy minister, you got me to put 12 agreements into Parliament in 2 weeks' time, which were not ratified at that time.
There you go,
yes.
you remember.
Yes.
we ratified everything that was not
ratified, yes.
Backlog, we ratified 2016 or 16 or 17, one of the 2 years.
Chairman, just to clarify, now you said that already there are like 55 investments.
51 investments.
51 or whatever. But now can you explain me for our understanding, so what is the significance of this particular agreement and what would happen to those? Is there any particular impact you are expecting from this particular treaty?
from this agreement, there will be an investment protection rendered for those companies that entered into agreement with BOI.
Which is not there at the moment.
Yes.
So just another question. Now we get so many FDIs. So this particular cover is for the countries that we sign up. Now similar protection is not there for any other investments at this point. What is the gap now? Like, can someone explain difference between a country that has this kind of agreement versus another BOI investment? What is the gap that we are trying to fill?
Well, this is, now once we pass this with 2/3 majority, we give them a constitutional guarantee for the investors.
What kind of guarantee?
It's like, say, we protect them from expropriation. Then we protect them from, we give them equal treatment, national treatment, most favored nation treatment. And in the event of a dispute, they have a mechanism to follow. So those are the protection we give them under this agreement, which are not available to other investors with whom, with the countries with whom we don't have bilateral investment treaties.
So why would that be? I mean, this I'm trying to learn, right? So you have a preferred treatment for 28 countries of investment, and there are over 100 odd countries who can invest in Sri Lanka. So those investors are at a disadvantage in that sense. No? How does the other countries handle this? Does every country need to sign with every country to protect their investments, or is there a investment protection law that applies to anybody who comes to our country? Dr. Harsha, do you have any?
Yes. I mean, it's like this. This is an additional insurance against expropriation. For instance, the Constitution in 1978 prohibited expropriation, but the 2011 Underperforming Act expropriated companies that included 3 or 4 foreign-owned companies, Singapore companies particularly. So it violated the fundamental principle of equal treatment and justice. And in the 2015 amendments, I think it was put back in strong guarantees of investment protection.
For anyone?
For anyone.
Yes.
So, because under the constitution of this country, expropriation is prohibited. Right? I mean, if you go back in history, the first time this happened was in 1961, when Shell and Exxon and all were expropriated by the Mrs. Bandaranaike government. And the United States, brought in a law called the Oppenheimer, I forget the name of the congressman, brought in new laws to suspend aid to Sri Lanka. So the PL 480 and all the subsidies that we were getting, that we were providing lunch to students in schools, were stopped. Because this law took sort of action against Sri Lanka for having expropriated American oil companies. So that's a history to this.
I think what Honorable Deputy Minister is also asking, why don't we have this same kind of protection to all investments?
No, so like I said, this is an additional, correct me if I'm wrong, the legal department of the Minister of Foreign.
There should be something more. No?
Yeah, but it's in the Constitution, no? Isn't it in the Constitution? Please express, yeah.
Yes, according to Article 157 of the Constitution, when we sign bilateral investment treaties, if we pass it with 2/3 majority, then they get a constitutional guarantee, sort of a better protection. Normally what happens is when an investor comes to the country, if they come through the BOI, they enter into a bilateral investment, they enter into a agreement with the BOI, which also provides arbitration and so forth. But here, The government gets involved to protect the investors. That's the difference. So the investors of other countries, they because of this protection that is given to them, they tend to have a preference to come to our country to invest. And in this encouragement.
That's agreeable. So Renuka, when the investors come to our country, if they are from these 28 countries, they know that there's a protection. So when you get inquiry from another country, do they ask you like what is the difference between I'm not part of the treaty, would we be mistreated or undertreated? Is there a issue like that?
Not really. Sometimes the nationals may not even know that there's a bilateral between the countries, but we bring it as a promotional tool to tell them that they'll have additional.
So this is like candy, like eye candy.
But under BOI, GCC, this thing, there is the expropriation guarantee that is in any case there, right? That is there.
Yeah, I mean.
Correct, DG BOI?
We do say that there will be fair treatment and the due process will happen. So we do have a clause to that effect. And anyway, Article 157 does give a guarantee for investments.
That has a clause into the 157 in the Constitution that protection.
Right.
Now this UAE one, there is no double taxation agreement.
There is one.
Under what section is it? Under this agreement that was given to us?
Not in this one. That's a separate. The DTA goes separately.
You are basically wanting a 2/3 on this without a double taxation agreement.
Yeah, but double
Normally this comes in for the protection of double taxation. UAE is going in for taxation.
Double taxation, we have more treaties with many more countries, don't we?
Yes, we have.
Maybe we have about 100 countries double taxation treaties.
No, not with 100.
40, about 44.
Yeah, so when you're basically having a agreement that needs to be 2/3 approved, one of the main conditions are the taxations that come in.
DTA doesn't
Why
need
is it this excluded?
Sir, normally bilateral, that's the general practice, bilateral investment treaties exclude double taxation from there. It's a separate regime. We don't include double taxation because we have to give the policy flexibility to the government to decide on double taxation. If we put that into bilateral investment treaties, in the event of a change or tax increase of tax for something, the investors can run for arbitration. So for that reason, we don't normally, it's the international practice, double taxation is excluded from bilateral investment treaties.
Talking of arbitration and arbitration clauses, sometimes we cave into the request of those countries to shift the arbitration to outside places. Well, we need to develop a proper arbitration regime here, which now with this port city and all that, a financial center, we must have a full-fledged arbitration. We have enough professionals here, and we have enough. Of course, we have a few chambers which are not internationally reputed, but still, a lot of work is going towards Singapore, Dubai, or to Hong Kong and various other chambers, right? So this is in Singapore, arbitration is about $3 billion business, right? So if we can try and develop our arbitration culture here, we can retain a lot of money that flows out of the country. Because
but just for other countries. But will a Sri Lankan domicile company be protected?
No, but we'll have in the panel, in international arbitration, it's a big panel. There'll be panelists, there'll be a big panel. You can have various people. It's not only lawyers, it'll be architects and engineers and whatnot. The worst problem is retired judges come and sit and drag this on for a long time. That's the problem.
I was called the Hickenlooper Act. I have some specific questions. Definition of the competent authority in your agreement. Article 2 requires investments to be specifically approved by competent authority. So in this case, who is the competent authority, and should it be specified or not? Or can there be many competent authorities? Is it subject to the type of investment? And also I have another question for you to ponder. It says investment it excludes portfolio investment under 10%. Goodwill, sovereign debt and pre-operational costs. On what basis have you said portfolio investment under 10% is excluded? So if an investor buys 10% of a company, has 9.9%, that person is not covered by this. Is there a specific reason why it is under 10% or? What is the sort of logic to make it 10%? I mean, is there some logic? Or is it just a number? I mean, so you are narrowing the investor and the investment. It also excludes what you call international sovereign bondholders. I don't know whether it is right or wrong, but those guys are excluded, and also investments below 10%.
Sir, actually what we protect under this agreement are sort of substantial investments in the country. What has happened, then generally we don't want to protect investors who just want to come and make an investment, and then in the event of a loss to make use of this agreement to go for arbitration and cover that loss. So we have defined the characteristics of an investment that we are looking at the beginning, the definition of investment. If they don't fall into that category, we don't want to give this protection to them. I don't know how we have used that 10% number. It has been coming throughout. So we have been continuing to use it, and we have seen it in other agreements of other countries also. So that's the standard we also have maintained.
Makes sense to me. I mean, there is some logic behind it, not just 10%. So substantially more than 10%, if that is the definition, then I'll buy that. You know, and the other thing is about fiscal risk of large awards. Now, for instance, that oil hedging matter, where we lost 3 arbitrations to, I think, Deutsche Bank and others. We ended up paying, yeah. Now, didn't they come under, were we not protected in those agreements? I mean, are we making sure that that type of large payouts are avoided somehow by these types of agreements, or these agreements don't refer to that type of investment or transaction?
Let me discuss with my colleague and come back to you. So from the Aegis department.
Okay, those are just some technical questions I had. I have no other questions.
Does this also cover countries that do entrepot trading? Because if something is traded through UAE, a company, where the rules of origin don't exist, does this treaty cover that? Now, there's quite a lot of trading of Iran oil coming through UAE. Does this cover that particular one?
Unless it's part of the definition of investment.
Yeah, no, but you don't know if it comes to a UAE company, then where does this origin status come in? Does that get covered through this process? I have yet to see that.
Sir, no, because they have to be established in Sri Lanka. This is for investments that are established in Sri Lanka.
So if ENOP has a company here, and if ENOP buys Iran oil from Dubai and trade it, do they get protected?
Remember, it's the company who's registered or established.
Yeah, that's the thing. If ENOP is registered here. where those violate the rules of origin. I want to see whether it goes into that. You know, I just see your 44 countries that you have bilateral agreements for taxation. UAE exists at the moment, which shows limited and comprehensive, right? Then with that particular one, if a company registered here, does that happen? You are legitimizing things globally which is not allowed. You're going to give protection now?
That's a branch office, right? If they come and establish here, they
This
become a
is
branch
reciprocal,
office.
no? If a Sri Lankan goes to Dubai, and Dubai, the same protection exists.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Yeah, so that's what I'm asking. So if a Sri Lankan company also buy, does that get protected?
I mean, reciprocity means that, no?
If they come and establish here, yes, we have to extend them protection.
Establish here or in Dubai?
No, local company in Dubai.
Sri Lankan goes to Dubai and makes an investment. that
Yes,
protection
they-
is-
Yes, yes.
The same
The
protection,
reciprocal
that's what I'm
protection
asking.
is there.
So what is the rules of origin that come? I didn't see any of those here.
No, rules of origin are not addressed here, sir. That's a different process. That's under the WTO regime.
Yeah, so what does this promotion mean if they trade only? No, there's something more than that. Even though you said that this promotion reciprocal doesn't have investments, I can remember India brought tax in. I was the signatory.
So I'm sorry, what is your particular question?
My
I didn't
concern-
follow you properly.
The double taxation treaties.
Okay.
That is embodied normally in the promotion agreement.
No, sir, those are two different regimes. Bilateral investment protection treaty is one thing.
Not India
Maybe something like that they will have the both things, trade and investment together. But other than that, bilateral investment protection treaty is for the investment protection, whereas the double taxation is for the whatever tax component addressed will be there.
So India has a double taxation model which has specifically carved out double taxation from it. They don't.
Okay, if there are no other questions and any other comments by our member?
Are we planning for any further? Have we identified other countries which we have attraction from? BOI? Who's proposing this? Is it BOI who's proposing this or is it
Foreign Ministry.
Now, has Foreign Ministry identified other potential countries which we should have this kind of a...
Maybe Turkey, because I think from how we commence and initiating these agreements is when, say, our embassies or our high commissions abroad, when they discuss with the host country there, if they are interested in entering into a bilateral investment treaty.
Do we have one with Japan?
We do.
We do.
We do.
So now what I'm trying to understand is there a science between how do we choose countries, or is it between the strength of the ambassador who negotiates this?
No, not really. We look at the foreign investments in Sri Lanka as well. We discuss with BOI. When a request comes to negotiate a bilateral investment treaty.
That's why I'm asking who's giving that request now. For example, say that Sri Lanka is in need of renewable energy. Now, if you take, there are certain European countries who are very strong in renewable energy and looking for investments outside. So, do we go through that scientific process of identification, or does this come like ad hoc, out of the blue? Somebody comes and say we should. How does it happen?
No. Normally, when a request comes for negotiation of a bilateral investment treaty, we liaise with the BOI and ask them whether we have a substantial amount of investments with that country in Sri Lanka, whether they have invested in Sri Lanka.
No, I agree. That is to look at the past, no? What I'm trying to look at is future, next 40, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If we do the analysis of each of the nations in the globe, we know what their investment strategies are. Now, for example, we knew China is expanding. We knew Singapore, Japan is doing that. So similarly, there can be other nations who has the potential matching to Sri Lanka, what Sri Lanka needs. So I'm asking who's looking at that today and recommending you that we should go and fetch this agreement with this nation.
Rather than
Waiting for someone to come and ask you, and then you go and ask BOI how much have we invested historically. Maybe the ones that we look at historically might not be the ones that we want in future also, because they would have exhausted their investments already. Do we have such a process? I want to establish that, because when you say investment promotion, core of the investment promotion should be fetching out rather than waiting to somebody to knock at your door. So you put substantial effort to penetrate that country. So I'm just trying to understand, do we have earmarked at least another 5 or 6 countries that Sri Lanka should do investments, Sri Lanka should get into agreements? Looks like it's not, no, Doctor?
Chairman, would you
No
tell
comment.
us what are the countries that have this at the moment? Promotional reciprocal protection? What are the countries? Name them.
Austria, Belgium, China, Czech Republic, Denmark, Egypt, Finland, France, Germany, Indonesia, Iran, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Malaysia, Netherlands, Norway, Pakistan, Romania, Sweden, Switzerland, Thailand, UK, USA, Vietnam. India, we had a bilateral investment treaty, but they unilaterally terminated their bilateral investment treaties with all countries, and they introduced a new model, which we started negotiating
So
with them.
majority of them are European, no?
Yes.
Which we have started negotiating with them.
Yes.
And what is the situation there?
We have around 3 rounds of them.
That is covered under ITCA.
It started with in parallel to ITCA, and it's going separately from the ITCA negotiations, but during the same timeline. So we had 2-3 negotiations. So it's not finalized yet.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I assume that the committee is in agreement to approve this, so we will send it up to the House for debate and further action on this. Thank you very much. Those who came specifically for this can be excused. Others, please stay.